This is the BG Sports Show presented by Sports Radio America. I'm Bax.
And this is Sam.
Monday morning, Sam. We are here. We're ready for another exciting week of BG Sports Show action. And what would be more exciting about it if we didn't have our wonderful producer, Danny, with us this morning? He makes us laugh, doesn't he, Sam?
He does.
He's the reason I come to work every Monday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Oh, well, thanks.
I see you every day. I only get to see him 3 days a week, If you were more of a rarity like you used to be, then
I suppose. That's fair.
Now that he's here, he makes it more entertaining to come. So
yeah, he does.
We're glad he's here, and it makes our show that much better as well. So we're excited today for the BG Sports Show. Lots of NFL action to get to. Also, some college football things to get around to. And Connor Christensen will be stopping by the show a little bit later to offer his weekly fitness tip for us as well. But before we do any of that, we want to remind all of you that you can find us right here on Spreaker.com live from 7 to 8 a.m. Central Time. You can also get us on Periscope as well. Hello to all of you. Sorry the camera angle's a little awkward on Periscope today, but let's just say I wasn't having it with my iPad this morning, so where it is where you're going to get it. So
was not having it.
So you're going to basically get like the nose up of Sam and I this morning, but that's what the money makers are anyway, so it's all in the eyes. That's why we're in radio.
It's true.
So you can get us there. You can also get us on Sports Radio America, sportsradioamerica.com, live 365, and tune in from 11 to 1 p.m. Central Time. And on, that's actually how you can get us there on there. So,
all right, and you can find us on social media. You can find us on Facebook at the Bax and Grant Sports Show. We're on Twitter at BG Sports Show. Baxter's at Baxter Colburn. I am at Samuel_Wallace 2. You can find us on Instagram at the BG Sports Show, and feel free to shoot us an email at any time at bgsportshow@gmail.com.
All right. Well, we want to jump into all the exciting action from week 9 already of the NFL? Week 9. Stop, NFL. You're going way too fast.
Already? Oh, man.
Yeah, no, one game left, but that game's tonight, the Bears and the Chargers, so no one cares about that.
I care.
I'm sure I actually care, too, because it has fantasy implications.
Oh, my gosh. Yep, me too. So we'll see what happens.
What do you have?
I am down by 7 right now, and I have my kicker. I have Josh Lambo for the Chargers, and then I have Alshon Jeffrey for the Bears.
Oh, okay. I'm winning in my game, and I have Stevie Johnson.
Stevie
for Chargers, so I need him to put in a good performance so I can close out the game.
Well, if Rivers throws it 65 times, he should be okay.
As long as he throws at least, 10 of 20 of the, as long as he throws to Stevie a few times.
Yeah.
All right, skidding through, the Patriots yesterday stayed undefeated, 27-10 over the Redskins. Tom Brady threw an interception, and it has gotten more publicity than Kim Kardashian's butt. That's basically, people are freaking out because Tom Brady threw an interception. Like, how did he throw it? It was a good play, okay, guys? Get over it. The Patriots still won. They're 8-0. They beat the Redskins like they were supposed to.
It's kind of a day at the office of the Patriots.
It really was. They came in, they took care of business like, hey, best team in football. All right, like Garrett Blunt. Hey, yeah, he's actually a pretty good running back, 120 yards. Boom. Okay, thanks. Bye, guys.
We're going to go home.
Yep.
See you next week.
It's basically what it was, except they were already home. So
yeah.
they sent Washington home. Barn burner down in the Superdome. I feel like every week we say this. Titans and the Saints. Delaney Walker catching one of the weirdest touchdown passes I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, no kidding.
2 bobbled ricochets, broke a tackle. Did anybody see that comeback block, though, from that other Titans receiver down the field on that Saints defender that just completely leveled that last defender?
Just took him right out.
Oh, man. I was like, someone's going to get him. Boom. Oh, shoot. So Marcus Mariota there won 34-28 against the Saints, so good for them. Titans, they go to 2-6 now. So, good for them.
I mean,
Saints,
yeah.
I expected better.
Yeah, it was great to see Marcus Mariota play well coming back, and he's looking good.
I think just it confirmed the fact that the Saints' defense is just terrible.
Oh gosh,
among
they're so
other
bad.
things. Among other things.
I mean, this is going to sound really redundant, but unless the Saints score more than their opponents, they're never going to win.
I think that's how you win the game of football. You got to score more points than your.
You got to score more points than the other team.
Yeah, that's how you win the game. All right, Bills take down the Dolphins. No real shocker there. Bills are 4-4 now. They win 33-17. Ryan Tannehill didn't toss a touchdown yesterday. LaShawn McCoy, though, stepped up, had a big game, even though he did leave the game injured.
Yeah.
Sammy Watkins also, he's been claiming in the media, saying, "Coach, give me the ball, give me the ball."
Well, he produced.
Yeah. How does 8 catches for 168 yards and a touchdown sound, Sammy? Not too bad there.
Yeah, it's pretty solid. I was a little disappointed with how the Dolphins played overall. I was hoping they could do more than put up 17 points.
Yeah.
But no, it is what it is.
It's true, yeah. A game yesterday, too, that had a lot of implications for wild card play. That was the St. Louis Rams and the Minnesota Vikings. Minnesota emerging in overtime 21-18, thanks to Blair Walsh pounding it in. Although the big story from yesterday is that Teddy Bridgewater left the game injured with a concussion.
Oh, he got leveled too, and it was unfortunate. You saw that hit, and there was a lot of talk about it. How Jeff Fisher, the coach on the Rams, defensive coordinator, that's a very Jeff Fisher-like play, is what I've been hearing from a lot of other sports commentators, and it's unfortunate that it was kind of just an unabated hit to the head on the quarterback, and we'll have to see what happens after this.
Absolutely, yeah. It was one of those things that you could tell that Teddy was knocked out before he even made contact with the ground. As soon as he was hit, he was gone.
Yeah.
So prayers are with you, Teddy. Hopefully you come back, and Viking Nation is begging and pleading with the good Lord that Sean Hill does not have to try to lead them the rest of the way. Jets took down the Jaguars, but only just. They beat them 28-23. Blake Bortles had a fairly good day yesterday, 381 yards and 2 touchdowns. However, the Jets did just enough, though, to have another victory. Ryan Fitzpatrick playing one-handed.
They're over 500.
Yeah, they're 5-3 now. Jaguars are 2-6 now. So Jaguar season more than likely done since the Colts won last night, so they can now assert their dominance in that
whatever
crazy,
dominance they have.
Crazy AFC, whatever that is, North. They're in the AFC North.
Yeah.
Steelers and Raiders, a very fun game yesterday. Neither team decided to play defense yesterday. 38-35, the Steelers emerge victorious after Landry Jones has to step in for Ben Roethlisberger, who picked up a foot injury. He's expected to miss several weeks due to that injury, so as soon as they get him back, they lose him. However, that did not slow down D'Angelo Williams yesterday or Antonio Brown, Sam.
Yeah, I think Ben Roethlisberger basically just reaffirmed what we already think we know, in that Antonio Brown is useless without Ben Roethlisberger.
Truth.
17 catches for 284 yards of offense out of one receiver is just ridiculous.
Straight dirty.
I think that's probably more than all the weeks combined when Roethlisberger wasn't throwing
I'm
him
pretty
the
sure.
ball.
I'm pretty sure some of the Green Bay wide receivers don't even have 17 for 284 this year.
Probably not. I was really, really pulling for the Raiders because I like what they're doing.
I did too.
And I really wanted to see them continue to win, especially on the road in Pittsburgh. But Pittsburgh has put up too much offense. When you have D'Angelo Williams stepping in as a quote-unquote relief running back in place of Le'Veon Bell, yeah, when he puts up 170 yards on the ground and 2 touchdowns, you're not going to be able to stop that.
Nope, not at all. Another game yesterday that does play into the wild card race, but also into the NFC East race as well, is the New York Giants. They took down Jameis Winston's Crableggers 32-18. They did fairly well. Nothing too crazy, though. Jameis Winston still led the quarterbacks in passing with 249 yards. Mike Evans had a good day also with 8 catches, 152 yards.
Jameis didn't throw a touchdown, didn't throw a pick either. He played turnover-free ball, and that's kind of what kept it semi-close.
Yeah, he's been plagued by turnovers like crazy the first few weeks of the season.
It was nice to see him play turnover-free ball, but at the end of the day, the Giants were just a better team overall.
They were, and I think that's a good sign of what's coming from them. Another thing that's not a good sign, and we've talked about this team for a while, the Atlanta Falcons on a 3-game losing streak now. They drop to Blaine Gabbert and the San Francisco 49ers. Talk about drama there, 17-16. Falcons had an opportunity to take the lead down by 4. They were on the 2-yard line of the 49ers with 3 minutes left to go in the ballgame. Decided to go for the field goal, brought it to within 1 point, and then never got the ball back after that, which is a little bit of a questionable move, and I've heard some people commentate on that, saying, well, Dan Quinn, they should have just gone for the ball, gone for the touchdown, because if they'd missed it, it's 1st down and 10 for the 49ers on their own 1-yard line with Blaine Gabbert.
Yeah.
So,
and the thing is, too, for Atlanta, when you have undoubtedly one of the hottest, best running backs in the NFL as of late, and you rush for 17 yards as a team.
Yeah.
17 yards.
Woo!
Devontae Freeman had 12 carries for 12 yards.
Sounds about as good as Leonard Fournette's night the other night for LSU. We'll get
kidding.
to that a little bit later.
To that.
Oh, man.
I guess the one good spot for the Falcons was Julio Jones has continued his dominance in the wide receiver core. It's 10 catches, 137 yards. Didn't find the end zone, but
still a good game from him, though.
Still a great game.
He made some fantasy owners happy, let's be honest.
Yeah.
All right, and then we had the Colts and the Broncos. Broncos were undefeated. Being that word, I still can't believe it. But the Colts found a way to take down Peyton Manning. They beat him 27-24. Manning tossed 281 yards, 2 touchdowns. Owen Daniels was the leading receiver in the game yesterday. That kind of shows you what kind of game it was for the Broncos. 6 catches, 102 yards, and a touchdown.
Go Badgers.
Absolutely, got to represent the home state there. Frank Gore ran 28 times for 83 yards and a touchdown yesterday as well. And just as I kind of thought, I wasn't sure if you shared this with me or not, Sam, C.J. Anderson, Ronnie Hillman both had terrible days following their big games they had against Green Bay.
I mean, they split carries equally down the middle, 7 apiece, but Ronnie turned his 7 carries into 1 yard for the game. Yeah. But I guess
he was averaging, what is that? Oh, that's 0.1 yards a carry.
Yeah, flipping it over to the Colts, it was, again, talking about quarterbacks playing turnover-free ball and keeping their teams in the game. Andrew Luck didn't necessarily have to win it for the Colts, but he definitely didn't cost them the game. That was nice. Andrew Luck played turnover-free ball, was only sacked once, whereas Peyton Manning did throw 2 touchdowns, but he followed it up with 2 interceptions. And Luck managed to spread the ball around very, very well. T.Y. Hilton was kind of a game-time decision. You know, I was reading up on ESPN before the game. Is he going to play? Is he not? And about 2 hours before the game, they're like, nope, he's out. He's likely going to be a game-time decision, but they don't think they'll play. And then he suited up and came out and played well. Caught 5 catches for 82 yards.
Yeah, and I thought it was funny, too. So Andrew Luck yesterday kind of screwed some fantasy owners, too, by throwing his touchdown passes to 2 different guys. He threw it to Ahmad Bradshaw, and then he threw it to Jack Doyle as well. So I can't exactly say anybody in fantasy had either of those guys. So T.Y. Hilton has kind of become the common joke in our fantasy league as he gets traded every other day, I swear. So
he's on his 3rd team in our league.
He is. I might try to trade him for a kicker or something this
there
week.
You go.
All right, then the Sunday night game was Philadelphia and Dallas, the 3rd overtime game. I swear overtime is becoming just
the new norm.
The new norm now. I don't know what's going on, honestly.
It's nice.
It is. It makes it for a lot more exciting football. The Eagles outlasting the Cowboys 33-27. Mark Sanchez leads the Eagles now to a 4-4 record. The
Mark
Cowboys.
Sanchez?
Sam Bradford, I'm sorry.
There we go.
I don't know. Eagle quarterback.
It's Monday.
Nobody cares.
I'll give you that.
Nobody cares about the Eagles quarterback, let's be honest. Matt Castle, I saw Matt and then Mark, and then it just all went downhill from there. Matt Castle throws 3 touchdowns, one of his best performances of the season, and honestly of his career as a whole. But the Cowboys go to their 6th straight loss without Tony Romo.
Yeah, and it was really nice to see, too, for Philadelphia. They really spread the ball around really well on the ground. DeMarco Murray, 18 carries, 83 yards. Ryan Matthews, 11 carries, 67 yards. Even Darren Sproles found a way to stay relevant with 4.6 yards a carry and having 23 yards chipped in. So they spread the ball around well. Jordan Matthews, the wide receiver, obviously he had that big touchdown late in the game and overtime for that 41-yard score. But overall, they spread the ball around pretty well.
Yeah, and how about Darren McFadden yesterday, too? He's finally stepping up as a good running back. Another good, consistent performance from him. 27 carries, 117 yards. No touchdowns, but still averaged 4.3 yards a carry as well.
Yeah. Did you see that touchdown catch by Des Bryant?
I did not.
Oh, it was great.
Good?
It was great. Castle was running for his life, spun around, came back, launched it up, and Des just went up and got it. I mean, it looked like an end-of-game Hail Mary, and it was just a kind of a blown play.
Wow.
It was nice to see him really plant and get up, and he just skied over everybody and came down with it. It was cool.
My goodness. All right, well, we are going to jump to a break. When we come back, we're going to take a look into the Green Bay Packers and Carolina Panthers game. Packers Nation had a few words to talk about it, and Sam and I have our thoughts and feelings about it as well. We'll be right back with more here on the BG Sports Show. Welcome back to the BG Sports Show presented by Sports Radio America. I'm Bax.
And this is Sam.
Alrighty, Sam. Let's take a look at the Green Bay Packers and the Carolina Panthers. The Carolina Panthers going to 8-0 overall. The Packers falling to 6-2. And the Packers making it a closer game than I think it actually was, because it was a 37-29 game. And Green Bay scored 15 fourth-quarter points after only scoring 14 total points up until about midway through the fourth quarter. I'm going to just be flat-out honest. Yesterday, I thought this was one of the worst performances from Green Bay as a whole their season.
Yeah, that's about all you can really say about it, too. The defense in this last 4-game stretch now, they've given up the most yards they've ever given up in that span. It's been bad. Just to say, I don't even really know what else to say about it. They just didn't look great. Rodgers, to his credit, didn't look terrible. You could see he finally started showing some emotion late in the game, was rallying the team a little bit, looked good. His receivers were really catching some great balls. James Jones had an awesome fourth down catch that kind of kept the drive alive and helped them score. But early in the game, especially when things weren't falling the Packers' way, they just looked shocked.
Yeah, there was so many different things that kept happening that you would flash to the sidelines. I forget what time it was in the game, but they did some panning on the sidelines, and everybody had their arms crossed. Nobody was talking to each other. Everybody looked dumbfounded, like this was a state high school championship game that they were projected to win by 100, and now they were losing the game.
Yeah, they're just getting rocked, and I think it's one of those things where I think some of the players and the coaching staff just really need to do some soul searching right now. They're probably sitting in the sidelines thinking, hey, we're the Green Bay Packers. We're good. We have Aaron Rodgers. We have all this great talent. We're young, things like that. But they haven't been living up to their potential. And I don't know if it's the players, if it's the coaching. I'm still convinced Don Capers needs to go find a new job elsewhere.
True.
And, yeah, he did show some great things on defense early in the season when the Packers were playing very well on defense.
When they play terrible teams, though.
That's just it. And when the Packers play undoubtedly two of their toughest games in a row against undefeated teams on the road, things are going to be obviously tougher, and to come away with 2 losses is tough. But, again, they're coming against quality opponents, so I guess I'm not terribly concerned about it at this point. But at the same time, when it gets closer to the playoffs, when they play good opponents, how well are they going to stack up? And it's not looking great.
No, it's not. And thankfully, the hardest part of the schedule for Green Bay is behind them. So if you look forward, they play Detroit, then they take Minnesota on, then the Bears, then Detroit, Dallas, which will probably have Tony Romo back by then.
Yeah,
probably.
Hopefully.
Oakland might be a pretty good team. Arizona, I don't know what to think of them right now. And then the Vikings to close out the year.
It's got a bunch of division games lined up.
They do, which will be fun because I think the Packers are a little tired of playing outside their division now. They want to get in their division. They want to start asserting their dominance. Minnesota has kind of taken over the NFC North without Green Bay playing any divisional games aside from one.
Yeah.
And I've talked about this on the show before. I would not be shocked if Green Bay and Minnesota split their series when they play each other this year.
A lot of it's going to come down to, I think, as well, as how long is Teddy Bridgewater going to be out. I think he's going to be the best facilitator of that offense to give them the best chance to win. If he's not in, I don't see them producing a whole lot.
No, not at all. So another thing that I want to make mention of about yesterday's game, and I'm sure I'm not the only person in Packers Nation that shares this thought, is that Eddie Lacy needs to find a new job, because I am absolutely infuriated about how he's played, not only just this game, but the entire season. I get it. I always preface it by saying I get it. He's had an ankle injury, but he's had enough time now to recover, to come back, and it's not rocket science to carry the football for more than 10 yards a game.
Yep, and I'm going to agree with your statement to a point. I don't think he needs to find a new job. I still think he fits well into the Packers organization, but I think a statement needs to be made where McCarthy just goes, look, you are benched for the time being.
Yes.
You are
James
done.
Starks, bring him in.
Yep, and Starks has been playing well. You got to ride the hot hand like any other sport. You just keep feeding the guy who's running well and playing well right now. Yeah, Starks only had 39 yards rushing, but he had some nice cutbacks, had some nice breakaways, looked good in the flat, had a couple good receptions. He finished the game with 83 yards receiving, which was awesome, and a touchdown. But yeah, you're totally right about Eddie Lacy. Something needs to change. You can't just keep toying with people and say, he's going to play. He's fine. No, he's really not as big as you think he is. You're not fooling anybody.
No, you're not.
You can't argue with the numbers, and the numbers aren't there.
No, exactly. And I think it's funny, too, because folks yesterday are probably looking at this game saying, well, Devontae Adams had a heck of a game yesterday, too, for the receivers, 7 catches for 93 yards. Did anybody see that play before halftime where Rodgers threw him a 45-yard pass across the field and he had to come back and catch it?
Yeah.
So you take that away from his 93 yards receiving, and he had a subpar average day. people need to look at and understand what happened throughout the entire game before reading into it. I mean, that's kind of like me saying, wow, Aaron Ripkowski is the best receiver the Packers have. Well, he had one catch for 18 yards. Well, he just had one catch. Okay. Woo! No big deal. You can make an argument for James Jones, though. 2 catches, 57 yards. I mean, his production has continued to drop and drop and drop and drop and drop, where he used to be a consistent target. Teams are keying in on that yesterday, but Carolina's defensive backs did such a great job of keying in on the Packer wide receivers that there was any sort of free space.
No openings. And the Packers organization is really starting to feel the effects now of not having Jordy Nelson. And we've talked about this before, but when Jordy Nelson was healthy in the game, the opposing defenses had to leave a guy over the top.
Yes.
They always had to. The Packers don't have a viable, speedy, deep threat right now. They just don't have it. Could that be Devontae Adams? Could that be Ty Montgomery? Maybe in the future, but not right now, and defenses know that. So they can just literally fill the box.
So
they can pass rush, play one-on-one coverage.
My question to you, though, Sam, is that even if Jordy Nelson were around, would that be solving all of the production problems from the offense as a whole? Because I understand one player doesn't make a team, but if Jordy Nelson were here, though, I feel like Green Bay would still be struggling.
They're struggling, and a lot of it, I think, comes down to the offensive line. Mm-hmm. The Packers have had a great offensive line traditionally throughout the last decade, but right now, Rodgers is not having a whole lot of time. And, it's not to keep defending Rodgers. Yeah, he's had some flaws, and he hasn't looked as sharp as he could have been. But if you look and see, he had, I think, 10 hits, or like 10 knockdowns, 14 hits, 5 sacks yesterday. He was just getting beat up all game. And I think Packer fans can attest to the fact that he's as good as any quarterback at stepping up out of the pocket and keeping plays alive. So it's not like he's just holding on to the ball and getting smothered.
Exactly, and it's not like he had a bad game yesterday either. I mean, he threw 369 yards and 4 touchdowns yesterday and almost posted a 100 quarterback rating. Even looking at Cam Newton, though, yesterday, I still am not sold on what Cam Newton is trying to do because folks are still trying to make the argument saying he's the MVP of the NFL. Well, no, Tom Brady is, so be quiet. Cam Newton missed so many openly obvious throws yesterday. As a Packer fan, I'm grateful for, but as an NFL fan, I'm looking at Cam Newton saying, why can't you make that simple throw? This game could have been 50-something to 20-something if Cam Newton would have made some easy throws.
Cam's only completing 50% of his passes for not even 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. And a lot of those came on 3 big plays.
Yeah.
They had 3 passes of over 50 yards or more, but that was basically it.
And I'm still not completely sold on what Cam Newton is trying to produce. I get it. He's a vital part to what Carolina is trying to do this season. That's fine. You take away Cam Newton, Carolina is not 8-0. Mm-hmm. They absolutely are not, and I get that. But you're still trying to work a mobile running quarterback into a more passer type of offense.
Pocket passer, yeah.
And that's never going to work. We've seen that backfire before, and I think it's only a matter of time before it completely blows up in Carolina's face. And they're going to be down in a game where they need Cam Newton to step up and start throwing the ball. And he just is not going to do it because he doesn't have the accuracy to do it. He's got the arm strength. He's got a fantastic arm, but his accuracy is terrible.
Yeah, and to that point, I think of the class of quarterbacks, and I'm going to clarify this by saying the class of mobile quarterbacks that we've seen in an RG3 and a Cam Newton, things like that I think he has I think he has the best opportunity to become a better pocket passer. He's looked way more poised under center. He looks very.
He has, yes.
He looks very confident. You're right that accuracy is not there, but I think of all the what I would consider to be mobile quarterbacks, not pocket passers like a Tom Brady or a Peyton Manning, he has the best chance to develop into that.
Agreed, because he has become a bit of a student of the game and has been willing to step up and make big plays when they're needed, and he's willing to ask for help also.
Exactly.
So looking at this game as a whole, though, for Green Bay going forward, they are technically in second place now in the NFC North because of Minnesota winning yesterday. So Minnesota holds the divisional lead over them right now. So congratulations to the Vikings for that. As I mentioned, though, a lot of that does hamper on whether or not Teddy Bridgewater is back in a week or two when Green Bay and Minnesota square up with each other. Green Bay takes on Detroit next weekend. I
feel really bad for Detroit.
Do you, though? Because I was having this conversation yesterday because Detroit, as we've seen from Green Bay so far this year, Detroit is perfect to come in and remember how to play football. Because coming into the season, Matthew Stafford, Calvin Johnson, Golden Tate, Amir Abdullah, Eric Ebron, and Ashadi Lions defense were projected to do fairly well this season.
True.
And Green Bay is not playing well. And in the perfect Green Bay Packers NFL world that we know, I would not be shocked in any means at all if Detroit found a way to put up at least 30 points on the Packers and possibly win this game.
I can agree with that to a point, but the fact remains that I still think the Packers overall are too talented, and they're going to come back home after a very long 2 weeks on the road, and are just going to be ready to beat somebody. And I think Detroit's going to be the perfect person, or the perfect team for that to happen. Yeah, we'll see. Like you said, Detroit, the Packers have shown if the team's been struggling, if the team hasn't been doing well, if you want to get back on track, play the Green Bay Packers. We've seen that time and time again. But
it's true. Well, look at the secondary though too for them. Green Bay secondary, I feel like continuing. I feel like you and I should probably go audition and try to get out there and play because
I'm good.
I mean, obviously having Sam Shields out does help, does hinder the defense, but at the same accord too, Sam Shields is not a Pro Bowl cornerback, as folks have been trying to make an argument for such a long time. He's really not.
Very fast, very athletic, but
and that's where it stops.
Needs to play smarter.
And then actually playing defense and tackling is a whole other ball game.
No kidding.
Anyway, we're going to go to a break. When we come back, we've learned a few things about the NFL, Sam, wouldn't you say?
Quite a few.
Quite a few. Sam's got a list for us that we're going to check out from MSN Sports. We'll be right back with more here on the BG Sports Show. Welcome back to the BG Sports Show presented by Sports Radio America. I'm Bax.
And this is Sam.
Quick reminder for all of you that you can get us right here on sportsradioamerica.com from 11 to 1 p.m. Central Time, Monday through Friday, and also live on Spreaker.com and on Periscope from 7 to 8 a.m. Central Time. All right, Sam, you have a list of things that you've learned throughout your collegiate years. No, that's not it. You're listening to the things that you've learned about the NFL so far.
Yeah, found this on a sports article online at the end of last week. So some of the things might be a little out of date as far as what happened yesterday and this weekend in the NFL, but it's in honor of Super Bowl 50. Here are 50 things we have learned so far in the first half of the season. Obviously, we're not going to go into all 50 of them. Some of them are a little corny. Some of them are irrelevant. But right off the bat, number one, don't take off Tom Brady.
Yeah, let's be honest about that. We all knew that was coming in the season, and I think David Kenyon said that, Sid Powell. Multiple people have come on the show and said, look, man, don't make Tom Brady mad. He's going to make everybody pay.
Don't do it. Here's another good one. This actually still might be relevant for the game yesterday, but is Aaron Rodgers still running for his life, or has that Packer-Bronco game finally ended?
No kidding, honestly. I mean, yesterday and Denver's game were just terrible, terrible, terrible.
Yeah, here we go. Greg Hardy and Jerry Jones. The Dallas Cowboys owner can gush all he wants, but this one will not end well. It usually doesn't when there's a character issue involved.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's that one. I just don't see that one.
Number 11 is fantastic. The Indianapolis Colts can't run a fake punt. Really?
No, they can't. Idea. No, they can't. But number 12 is great, too. It says, but the Seattle Seahawks can swat the ball out of the end zone.
Yeah, that's what they're known for doing.
Tony Romo gets a lot more respect when he's not playing than when he does play. Go figure.
No kidding. Oh my gosh. The NFL is more fun when the Oakland Raiders are winning. They have something going good here. Hopefully they don't screw it up. Well, they almost may have did yesterday.
Here's an interesting one, maybe a little bit of foreshadowing from this article writer. The New York Giants are going to look back at the end of the season and realize Eli Manning's inability to count timeouts in week 1 cost them a playoff spot.
Ooh, shoot. Everyone in the world is watching the Yahoo live stream of the Bills and Jaguars game in London, or just a couple people, depending on who you believe.
Yeah, it's number 17. Didn't you used to be Robert Griffin III?
True. Mark Zimmer of the Minnesota Vikings is vastly underrated, and so is his team. Keep an eye on them.
Mike Zimmer, but yeah.
Zimmer, whatever.
Great job.
Whatever. I'm over it.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. The Bengals are, now 8-0 for the first time in franchise history. It's the Bengals franchise history, but still. But keep an eye on that.
Yeah, no kidding. It's like, hey, did you know there are now daily fantasy football games?
What?
If not, then you're using your DVR to skip commercials way more effectively than we are.
No kidding. You mean like I can go and play and try to win millions every week by playing on FanDuel and DraftKings and Draft Theory and I read it in like the list of 8 billion other places?
Here's a little, shout out to David Kenyon. Colin Kaepernick, if you figured out what happened there with the Niners, give us a call. We're stumped.
No kidding.
Don't know what happened to him.
Jameis Winston's first pass of his NFL career with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers was a pick six. Marcus Mariota had 4 passing touchdowns in his debut with the Tennessee Titans against Winston.
Number 31. And there goes another missed extra point.
Seriously. I'm glad, though, that they moved it back.
Because now it's not quite automatic anymore.
Exactly. And everyone's like, people have asked me as a kicker, they're like, well, how hard is a 30-yard field goal? I'm like, well, usually in kicking practice, you warm up from 30 and go from there. And I'll be honest, when I warm up, I usually miss a few of those kicks right away.
Yeah.
But you'd like to think anything inside 40 kickers are fairly accurate with, but that's not the case right now, which is fine.
Not quite guaranteed.
Way more entertaining this year.
Just a couple more here. Don't look now, but Chicago Bears quarterback Jay Cutler has been playing pretty well, and we'll see how that goes tonight.
That's true. The McCown brothers, Luke and Josh, both started in Week 3, but we will remember that forever.
What? They both started in Week 3?
I know.
Holy cow.
I saw that Verizon Wireless commercial yesterday with Luke McCown, the Saints backup quarterback. Like, imagine if they only gave those backup generators a chance. The Saints gave him a chance, and he looked terrible.
Yeah. Here we go. It's unfair to ask who got the best of the Nick Foles, Sam Bradford deal because it looks like both the Eagles and the Rams got the worst of it.
No kidding. Nobody really won that deal, honestly. Yeah. When the New York Jets get a QB, ...
Matt Hasselbeck still has more wins than Andrew Luck.
That's so sad. Hey, Falcons, it's now yours. It's not how you start, it's how you finish, and we're sorry about that for your sake.
For your sake. The Ed Hockley Cam Newton mini controversy sure disappeared quickly. Maybe it's because we're not old enough to get the final call on that.
Oh, true. Gary Barnidge admitted you didn't know who the Cleveland Browns tight end was 8 weeks ago, but now you're upset he has not been on your fantasy score team. Since fantasy score is week to week, you have 9 more chances to get him. And yes, that's a shameless plug. Deal with it.
Deal with it.
Truth.
Yeah, and okay, our last one here, number 50, is... Don't take off Tom Brady.
Yeah, it's just that easy. It's just very, very simple. Don't make Tom Brady mad.
Don't do it.
And you'll be just fine.
Yeah.
Have you learned anything else at all about the NFL, Sam?
No, only that it's going too fast.
Too fast?
The season's just flying by.
It is.
We're over the halfway point.
We're halfway there. We're not living under prayer because I'm tired of the season going so fast. They're in soon to be 11 of the college football season.
Shh, just don't talk about it. Just enjoy it. Enjoy it while it's here.
I'm trying to.
Speaking of college football.
Woo! We'll get to that in our next segment. We'll be back with more here on the BG Sports Show right after this. Welcome back to the BG Sports Show, presented by Sports Radio America. I'm Bax.
And this is Sam.
Alrighty, Sam. Before we roll on with the show, we'd like to take a moment to thank one of our sponsors of the show, Student Debt Center of America. You can get a hold of Student Debt Center today by calling the number 855-401-3508. You can call them now to... Why do you guys always make fun of me when I have to do this read? Everybody makes fun of me.
What? No, continue.
No, are you sure? Do you want to read it? You
no,
can
I'm
read
positive.
Are you sure?
I'm so positive. You're doing a wonderful job. You have.
What's that phone number? Do you know?
You have the voice for radio.
Oh, thank you. Do you know what that phone number is?
I don't.
No, nobody numbers? Okay, well, that phone number is 855-401-3508. You can call Student Debt Center now to get your student loan payments reduced, and you can also save some money as well. So, all right, well, looking at the college football world, Sam.
Yeah.
Samuel_Wallace, too.
That's me.
I actually introduced you as Samuel the other day to somebody. I was like, that's my co-host Samuel. I was like, what?
It's so formal.
I know. This is like from the Bible. This is Samuel.
I like it.
All right. Looking at college football, there were 3 pretty big games, you could say, if you like college football, if you're into that sort of thing. LSU and Alabama, Minnesota, Ohio State, and FSU and Clemson took on each other this weekend. The only reason we're highlighting those 3 games is because those were the top 4 teams in college football, according to the college football rankings.
Yes, they were, may have been.
Possibly.
Will
not
be.
Anymore.
Possibly not anymore.
Not anymore. Alabama took down LSU. Alabama took down LSU 30-16 in their ball game. Alabama's 8-1, LSU 7-1 on the season now.
All right, knock it off.
Sorry. I just got to get into the... Okay.
No, you don't.
I have to get into character for this broadcasting thing. Jake Coker for Alabama, the Alabama quarterback, had day. Didn't really...
Game manager. He
did a good...
He did not cost them the game.
Who knew your quarterback could have a 37 quarterback rating and you would still win the game by 14 points?
Well, the other quarterback has a 34 quarterback
that's
rating.
why. He needed at least 35. Didn't get there. Brandon Harris of LSU, 6 of 19, 128 yards and a touchdown and 1 interception.
I just think 6 completions in a game.
What were they doing?
Well, they kept trying to feed potential Heisman frontrunner candidate, maybe not anymore. Who
Doubtful.
knows? Leonard Fournette, who up until this point had been averaging almost 200 yards a game
193 yards a game.
193 yards a game, average rushing on the ground.
Shoot.
He had 19 carries for 31 yards.
Woo! But a touchdown. He got a touchdown, Sam.
But here we go. Look at this. You take away his one long run of 18 yards. Pretty pathetic day for Leonard Fournette.
It was a terrible day. I had an opportunity to watch most of this game, and I wanted to watch this game to see, number one, the game, because it's a big rivalry game. But I wanted to see this possible Heisman candidate, first overall draft pick, Leonard Fournette, woo, woo, woo. And I watched it, and I'm like, please, Eddie Lacy with Green Bay would be doing better than this right now.
Careful.
That's how disappointed I was at Leonard Fournette.
You were that disappointed.
I was like, I'm pretty sure a crappy Eddie Lacy could be doing better in this game right now.
But on the flip side, speaking of Alabama running backs,
yes,
Derrick Henry. Wow, what a game.
What a game.
38 carries for 210 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Talk about feeding the man. Derrick Henry doing his best Eddie Lacy hair impression, too, during the game. He had a nice little Eddie Lacy. I think that's like a staple to be an Alabama running back. You all have to have dreadlocks.
Yeah, but
otherwise they don't recruit you.
Yeah, but his wasn't all like crazy long. It was just kind of like in this tight little thing.
Little way.
Just tucked back there.
Respectable. It's a coming of age thing. As you get later, you cut your dreadlocks as you get older.
Looks more like a man.
It's true. Yeah, so Derrick Henry, though, I was very, very impressed with how well he ran between the tackles and what he did when he was in the open space as well. There were multiple times where he had opportunities to, extend the play, but there was a defender in his route, and he was able to run through them or shed at least an arm tackle and get that extra yards. And it was just a great game from them overall.
You know what's crazy to think about?
What's that?
Everybody that played in this game, they're younger than you and I.
Oh, my God, stop. We're not even that old.
Just saying.
That's so scary.
Yeah. Anyways. Just thought I'd throw that out there.
I need to walk away.
Happy Monday.
One other thing, too. It's definitely true that Alabama is missing their Amari Cooper.
Yeah.
From the passing game perspective. Calvin Ridley did a decent job, 7 catches, 51 yards. But in this game, as we mentioned, their quarterback was really looking to spread the ball around a lot. It was kind of the battle of which team's running game could get going first.
Yeah, I think there was no question about that. You look at the stat line and... Yeah, that was pretty much it.
I will say, though, that over for LSU, Trevine Durrell had 2 catches for 77 yards. The touchdown pass he did catch was a beautiful 40-yard pass. It was just zipped in there perfectly by Brandon Harris, and one of the best touchdowns I've seen thrown from start to finish this season.
But, yeah, that was pretty much the highlight of LSU's night.
It really was. That was the only highlight of LSU's night. So I'm going to ask you this, Sam. With that being said, how far does LSU potentially drop in the rankings now?
Well, they're definitely not 2. They're definitely not 3. I'd say 4, but then at the same time, you have to start giving consideration to some of those other unbeaten teams.
Notre Dame won.
That are on the outside looking in.
TCU lost to Oklahoma State this last weekend pretty handily. Oklahoma State did a pretty good job asserting their dominance.
Yeah.
TCU, don't know what's going to happen with them, but LSU is going to fall out of the top 4.
Yeah.
I know they will. Maybe Notre Dame pops up into that one. Michigan State did win their game also. Or no, they lost.
No, they didn't.
They lost.
Nebraska beat them.
Nebraska beat them. Wow.
Yep.
Go Nebraska. Speaking of another Big Ten team, the Ohio State, who was number 3, they beat Minnesota. It was the Saturday Night Football spectacle, as folks were calling it. They're like, wow, big game, Minnesota, Ohio State. Please, just stop where you are. Ohio State, no J.T. Barrett at quarterback. They still managed to do just fine. Cardale Jones, 12 of 22, 187 yards. I guess college quarterbacks don't like throwing for over 200 yards.
It's true.
It's just I think it's a faux pas, I feel like.
It's not terribly common.
No.
It really isn't.
Which is maybe why I don't watch college football very often, because it's rather boring, in my opinion.
The NFL is just so pass-heavy now that we love watching like Phillip Rivers play because every time he just airs it out.
Exactly. Yeah. So Ohio State wins 28-14 in this ball game. Ezekiel Elliott turns in a pretty good day, 26 carries, 114 yards, and a touchdown. Cardale Jones also ran for 12 carries, 65 yards, and a touchdown as well. And Braxton Miller, one of the quarterback, receiver, now apparently running backs, also had 5 carries for 11 yards as well.
I mean, why not?
At this point,
they're so versatile. They can do whatever they want.
They really are. I mean, Braxton Miller, the wide receiver portion of him, only caught 1 pass yet.
The wide receiver portion of him. I love it.
I don't know what to really call him. We'll just call him an athlete, Sam.
It's true.
Just call him an athlete. He had 1 catch for 45 yards in that ball game. Aside from that, though, looking over on Minnesota, I mean, Mitch Leidner, he was 27 of 44, 281 yards, a touchdown and a pick.
They made it interesting late a little bit, but yeah.
Minnesota scored 14 points in the fourth quarter. Aside from that, they were shut out the rest of the game. So, kind of like Green Bay, Carolina. If Green Bay doesn't score those 15 points in the fourth quarter, it's not a close ball game.
It really
looks closer than it actually was.
Exactly.
And I think at that point, Ohio State was like, look, we're up 28-0. Minnesota.
Hey, bench guys, do you want to play?
Yeah, right. Go ahead and get out there. Yeah. Ezekiel Elliott, you can come off now. I mean, we saw, that's all. They didn't run the ball with anybody else. They kept their starters in for the entire game, though, for most of it, unless they just stopped playing football, unless they just threw the ball.
They might have.
It's very possible. So Ohio State will likely take a top. Well, I don't know if they're going to go to 2 now with this win.
I would say 3.
You think they'll stay at 3? Alabama, you think will Alabama jump to 2?
I think because they beat number 2 LSU.
I think that's an interesting part about it. I think it would be interesting in college football that if you beat a team that is ranked higher than you, that you take their seat, that you take their ranking.
I've thought of that before too, but then can you imagine like an unranked team beating a number 1 on like a last-second Hail Mary, and then they're number 1, and then just getting trashed the next week?
Hey,
why not?
College football is trying to find so many different ways to stay relevant that
let's do it.
Why not? Make it happen. Someone write a letter.
Okay.
Call an intern. They'll do it.
All right.
And then the other game, the number 1 team, Clemson Tigers, took on the number 16 FSU Florida State Seminoles. Clemson won 23-13 in this game. Deshaun Watson, 28 of 42, 297 yards and a touchdown. He had a fairly good day for Clemson. He also led the team in rushing as well, 16 carries, 107 yards. Wayne Gallman also had 22 carries, 103 yards. So Clemson had 2 over 100-yard rushers as well.
They looked very, very powerful on offense. Just like power running, power football. They just kind of asserted their dominance over FSU.
Yeah, no kidding. It was one of those games where you were curious to know what was going to happen about it because FSU has had Clemson's number in the past.
Yeah.
But FSU could not find consistency in this ball game.
No, not at all.
One good thing for FSU, their running back, Dalvin Cook, 21 carries, 194 yards, and a touchdown. He averaged 9.2 yards a carry.
And a big chunk of that came on like the first play of the game when he ran in for a score.
75-yard rushing touchdown. Wow. That was a way to set the tone early, but they couldn't follow up with that.
He had a great game individually, but his score was really the only highlight of their offense.
As it usually is for FSU. I haven't been thrilled by much that they've done this season. So looking at the current top 4, the AP poll is already out. And it has Clemson at 1, Ohio State 2, Alabama 3, Baylor at 4, Oklahoma State 5, Notre Dame 6, Stanford 7, Iowa 8, LSU 9, Utah 10.
LSU to 9. Woo. Well,
This
all
is
right.
the AP poll.
Yep.
This is just the AP poll. In the coaches poll, Ohio State is number 1, technically. Clemson is 2, Baylor 3, Alabama 4. Notre Dame won their game over this last weekend, which I thought was great. Florida won as well, but they won by 2 points.
So, 9-7.
Yeah.
Play a football game.
With their backup dental student kicker.
Yep.
So,
Hey.
I mean, that's not a dog on the fact of what he's studying. That's great. He'll probably do my teeth in a few years, but
He won the game.
he won the game, and it was the fact that it was their backup kicker too that came in. So Florida struggling against weaker opponents.
Yeah.
They should have done better.
They should have.
personally. So all right, well we are going to skip off to a break. When we come back, Connor Christensen will be here with us to wrap the show up and talk about his fitness tip as well. We'll be right back with more here on the BG Sports Show. Welcome back to the BG Sports Show presented by Sports Radio America. I'm back. So now Sam had to take off for his last segment of the show. We'll be welcoming in Connor Christensen in just a moment, but first we want to thank one of our sponsors of the show. That would be Student Debt Center of America. You can help yourself and help out the BG Sports Show at the same time. You can do it by dialing 855-401-3508. Call now to inquire about your student loans being reduced. That number is 855-401-3508 to make one easy student loan payment. 855-401-3508 to stop or avoid garnishments from your check. That number one more time, 855-401-3508. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning. How are you, Connor?
Oh, I am just dandy. How are you doing?
I feel so much better now that you're here in the studio.
Oh, sarcasm is real.
No!
Oh, come on.
Never.
Come on.
I can't feel my face when I'm around you, Connor. That's why I think.
I think that's
But
just
I
because
love
it's so
it.
cold outside.
That is very true. That is very true. All right, well, Connor, you have a fitness tip for us today, don't you?
I do have a fitness
What do you
tip.
got, sir?
Go figure. On Monday, I have a
I
fitness
hope so.
tip.
That's what you're paid to do to be here.
Oh.
It's back payment. You'll get it.
Oh, okay. All right.
Got lost in the mail. Carrier pigeon got shot. I don't know.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, well, my fitness tip today is less of a tip and more of a settling a debate.
Okay.
I'm settling the debate, and it's fun because your producer, Danny Hovenstein, is just going to love this one.
Oh.
And by love, the sarcasm was real. So anyway, the debate is which form of exercise is better for losing weight? Is it long distance running or sprinting? Now, let me start off by saying that both methods are very, very good ways to lose weight. So if you're in the business to lose weight, that I put on the running shoes, go out and go run. It's good for you.
Okay.
Although I recommend starting out with walking if you're new to the whole thing.
Indeed.
And then work your way up. However, now we're gonna look at it here. Which one is more effective? Which one helps you lose weight faster? And a lot of people say, well, I mean, if you look at long distance runners and sprinters, if you're looking in like the Olympics or anything, the long distance runners are so thin. They look almost sickly, but they're not. They're not sickly.
Okay.
They're just in they're just in different shape for a different sport. Never fear, they're fine. And the sprinters look super buff.
Yeah.
And
buff
here's
guys.
the thing: the actual size difference has less to do with how much like fat they're burning off, and more to do with them changing their muscle structure. So when you become a long distance runner, your muscle fibers actually become thinner, smaller. And that assists them in several different ways, mostly with how to regulate energy. So where the muscle releases energy, how the muscle gets oxygen and energy and nutrients and all this other stuff from the blood. And, whatever.
Yes.
So I could get into that, but that's a little sciencey. So we won't do that.
Okay.
But their muscle fibers actually become smaller, as where a sprinter is doing short, high-intensity exercise, which makes your muscles get larger. So where the long-distance runners, they look so thin and sickly, but that's just because they have the same amount of muscle. It's just smaller muscle, and it doesn't produce as high power.
The players, though? Or the runners, I guess?
Well, of course. I mean, when you have, like, that's the whole reason they're small and they work more over time, is so that they can run for as long as they can. Because if they had the same muscle structure as a sprinter, they would burn out after the first lap, and they wouldn't be able to run the 5,000 or the whatever,
Makes sense.
what have you,
Sure.
Olympic long distance run. And I mean, also, if a sprinter looked like a long distance runner, he wouldn't be able to. I mean, he'd finish the 200 meters in 30 seconds. It'd be pathetic to watch, and he wouldn't be a sprinter. So
True.
But anyway, moving on from that, which one is better for losing weight? And that is actually sprinting. Sprinting burns a higher amount of calories over a shorter period of time, which makes sense. You're moving at a faster pace. Your metabolism works much faster when you're sprinting. The problem is that you can sprint. The average person can sprint for, I mean, how long do you think you could sprint consistently for at top 100%?
The length of a football field, probably. So 100
Exactly. And that's the thing. That's why, track runners, running a 400 is insane. Sprinting 100% for an entire lap, that is crazy.
Yes.
And being able to do things like that is oh my gosh, it's mind-boggling how people can build that kind of endurance with sprinting. But this is why, while sprinting is technically better for losing weight, it's not practical to do sprints only when you're trying to lose weight. So if I was trying to recommend someone our age to an athlete who's trying to lose weight, I would be like, do like different interval trainings. So actually, long distance track does this very, very well. Doing doing different ladders. So a ladder would be like doing a 600-meter run, then an 800, then 1,000, then an 800, then a 600 again, and doing those and doing those at like 70-80% of your max speed. Those types of exercises are going to be the best way to lose weight. So doing a sprinting interval training where you sprint 100 meters and then you jog a lap, and then you sprint 100 meters and then you jog a lap, Or you can take it the long distance route and do like I'm going to run 600 meters, which is a lap and a half on a track. You do that at about 70-80% of your max speed, and then I maybe jog half a lap, and then do an 800, and then jog a half lap, and then doing things like that, mixing it up. But you have to get that high speed in there to kick up the heart rate, to pump your blood a lot faster, to get your metabolism going and all of that. So while sprinting is technically better than long distance running for losing weight, it is I would say it's more efficient. It's not as practical because you can't do it for as long of time.
So how would you apply something like that to other sports then? Like if I'm a basketball player, if I'm a soccer player, or a football player.
If you look at the actual game, if we're breaking it down on activity level, watch football. If I'm a wide receiver, I'm Randall Cobb lining up. He says 319 hut, and then I sprint for
10 yards, 20 yards.
Yeah,
30 yards.
I'm looking for more time, so probably like 5 to 10 seconds,
10 seconds
and that's it. Unless I get the ball, in which case it could potentially be longer. And then I stand there for about 30 seconds, whatever, stretch out, move around a little bit, and then I sprint again for another 5-10 seconds, and then I wait around for a little bit. So it's that stop-start sprinting, which I was just talking about doing as a great way to lose that fat, increase that tone. If we look at soccer players, it's the exact opposite. The track version I was doing. So sprint for 600 meters and then kind of jog around for a little bit, because you're never supposed to walk in soccer.
No.
I remember that was drilled into me at a young age. We do not walk in soccer. So when the ball is near you, if someone beats you or if you're a forward making a break for it, you're sprinting. You're going all out.
Absolutely.
Or if you're a midfielder, you're basically running the whole game. And so that's another method. That's another very, very good method to lose weight and build tone. So if you look at the actual game style, and basketball is similar as well. If you look at the actual game style, they already do it in the game.
True.
So you could definitely build up that endurance by integrating these sprint trainings. That's why we used to do like suicides or all these different sprint drills or sprint workouts that we would do at the end of practice.
Yes. Yep.
So we're already tired. Now give it your all for whatever, and then wait 10 seconds, and then give it your all again. And that one kid didn't do so well, so now you have to do it all again 3 times. And, we always hated that one kid. And
we all knew who that one kid was too.
Yeah.
We all got that one. No, it wasn't me. Don't even be pointing at me. Please, it was one of the first to finish.
No, it wasn't me either.
Producer's trying to blame it all on us. Was it you, producer? Yeah, okay. He said no, it wasn't him. Those are the days.
So yes, I would recommend if you're a soccer player, if you're a basketball, football player, what have you, definitely get into these different styles of sprint or long distance workouts. If you're a sprinter, try out the long distance one I was talking about, 600, 800, 1000. It's a really, really good way to mix it up. But you see, that's the thing though. If you're a sprinter and you want to maintain, I am a sprinter, I run 200s and that is it, well then you don't have to. You don't have to do the 600, 800, 1000. Because if you think about it at a muscular level, by increasing the distance, you're actually decreasing your speed for your smaller distance. So what I mean is, if a bodybuilder starts doing boxing training, he's going to lose part of that physique because the boxing training is going to it's going to change the shape of his muscles. It's going to change how they work and what they do. So the same is true for a sprinter who starts doing endurance exercises. Now, if you're a wrestler, definitely do the 600, 800, 1000 ladder. But, that's because they have to be able to be very, very intense for minutes at a time.
Sure.
So it kind of depends on what sport you're doing. If you're a football player, take a sprinter's approach. If you're a soccer player, then take the long distance approach. Both are great, but you need both to be the most efficient as possible.
Okay. All right. Well, Connor, thank you so much for your in-depth analysis on all of that. We appreciate it. Hopefully that helped some of you out at home as well. If you have questions for Connor when he comes on our show to get what his fitness tip is, you can find it on Facebook. We usually try to post the episode there, and usually a short video as well after he's on the air too, to explain a little bit quicker about what he got into as well. Those technical terms can take up some airtime sometimes. So We will be taking off for today, and we will be checking back in with you again tomorrow. So special thanks to Sam Wallace for co-hosting today and for Connor Christensen for stopping by as well. Remember, you can get us Monday through Friday from 7 to 8 a.m. Central Time right here on Spreaker.com and on Periscope as well, and on Sports Radio America from 11 to 1 p.m. Central Time on Live 365 and TuneIn, and on demand anytime you want on iHeartRadio, iTunes, and on Spreaker.com. You can get us on social media at The BG Sports Show on Facebook. On Twitter, we are at BG Sports Show, and I am at Baxter Colburn. Sam is Samuel_Wallace2, and on Instagram, we are BG Sports Show. For Sam Wallace, I am Baxter Colburn. Our producer has been Danny Hoffenstein. We'll see all of you again tomorrow. Enjoy your Monday.